Soul Garden.
Hello, Your Majesty, and welcome back to Soul Horoscopes Weekly Edition. My name is Chrisotopher Witecki. Well, when I last left the royalty of the zodiac, the sun was in Scorpio. That's what Leos are, the king and queens of the intention I love. If you don't know, love is the primary consciousness on the planet, even though you can't notice it looking around. And so Leo's role on the planet is quite important. And our role here at Soul Garden is to help you stay in your heart so the rest of the world can. When the sun was in Scorpio, when I was last leaving our royalty, it was some hard decisions. It came down to you or them in many cases. And this is really the end of a very long cycle that Leos have gone through. Unfortunately, you won't know fully if you were successful with your choices until next year when Saturn hit Scorpio. But it was an us or them approach where Leos had to put themselves first. Putting your heart first, your self-nurturing first. This might have meant radical changes in the home and family, radical changes in policy. And when you emotionally control or take care of yourself first, you are a Leo in power. Remember, Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun has its own energy. It digests itself at the core. That is the sun loving itself, eating itself up. A powerful Leo is one that does not need the planets to constantly tell them that they're hot. If you're seeking the attention and chasing after the planets to orbit around you, you're not in your power. And in many cases, Leos are not in their power because they were afraid they needed those planets for the energy. Just love yourself, Leo. So some hard cuts with Sun in Scorpio. Then the universe gives us a solar eclipse in Sagittarius on Thanksgiving evening, a big boost of confidence of that core of the sun. So the kernel of the sun got a nice little flamethrower from the universe and just heated it up. Is that good? Yeah, it just lit it on fire even further. I'm trying to think of a good way or analogy. But it was like a supernova moment. It was a big burst of energy in the inner child, in the heart chakra, hopefully helping you heal, licking your wounds from the hard decisions you had to make in Scorpio, but really actually setting where you will go, not necessarily where you are. And that's what the last 10 days have been about. In the last 10 days, or I should say first decan, or first chapter of Sun in Sagittarius, Leos have been discovering what's in the way of keeping that fire going. You might find that someone you're in a relationship is, in a way, they actually take your fire more than they add to it. You might find that a certain location that you work in is bumming you out. You might have discovered that the way you treat yourself is bumming you out. Remember, in the background with Saturn and Libra, a background consistent story for Leos is your thoughts have got to be on your side. Okay, that's been a consistent battle. Those who are watched over by GA, we've been really hammering on that to keep your attitude positive, because that mind can tip the scale and boom, that sun certainly turns into a comet or something not fun. We don't want that. So in the last 10 days, whatever your drama has been, the universe has been saying, hey, this might be in the way of your personal dreams. This might be in the way of what you love. And when it comes to what you actually love, you know. All right, Pluto in Sagittarius from 95 until 2009. If you're an old enough Leo, you've learned what you love and what you don't love. You have to be honest with yourself. Now, maybe you don't believe it's possible. That's Pluto in Capricorn's lesson now. But you know. And at this point, it is time to aim for that. That brings us to the beginning of this week. As we start the week, the sun is in chapter 2, or decan 2 of Sun in Sagittarius. This is now time for you to explore what your heart truly does want. All right? And on Monday, Uranus rules the day. That means there'll be breakdown followed by breakthrough if you're in denial. about where your heart or what your heart actually wants. Perhaps you're in denial because you didn't even offer it as an opportunity for yourself. Sometimes denial is, I didn't think I could be that. I didn't think I could have that, so I just gave up early on. But as a breakdown, an understanding of what your heart truly wants, it might be you discovering something or seeing someone or being inspired by something outside of yourself. This also includes creative projects, children, true romance, you name it, everything that Leo's about. So on Monday, if it's tough, well, that's how in denial you were. But the good news is every Leo should see reality as we move into Tuesday. Now the moon, actually through this period, starts in Aries on Monday. So you're very passionate and full of yourself on Monday. This will either lead for a big breakthrough or a big breakdown. But then as the moon shifts into Taurus, well, emotions shift right away to your career, your legacy, why you're born in the first place. Once you're clear on what your heart wants, boom, it's straight to career for the Leos emotionally. And this leads us to Wednesday, a grand trine. On Wednesday, we are blessed from the universe with a grand trine, thanks to the moon in Taurus. We call this a soul pyramid at Soul Garden. This is going to emotionally remind you of where you were this summer. This summer, Jupiter in Taurus was saying to Leos, hey, you can have this and you can have that. You can have this in your career and that in your career. Anything's possible. Things just kept expanding. But then once Jupiter went retrograde after your birthday, suddenly that mojo or evidence or opportunity stopped, like a faucet. Well, you'll be emotionally reminded on Wednesday of that feeling. Maybe you're emotionally reminded of what you don't want. And that moon trines down into Mars and Pluto. Well, actually, Mars and Venus, even more potent. On the Mars-Virgo side, if your emotions kind of remember for a minute, you'll have the strength now to move forward in building soul capital, building your worth. Remember, soul capital is built brick by brick, says the Bull Taurus. And although you'll know what you're worth, at least you'll have the courage to put the next bricks down. That's from the emotional memory. At the same time, Venus over in Capricorn says it means that in order to have what you're worth, in order to manifest that career you saw a vision of this summer, you're going to have to change the way you give and receive in the moment. In the moment. Okay? So most of Leo's work is in the moment. How you change your moment. One bad give and receive in one moment leads to a monopoly or a pile of stuff at the end of the year. You've heard it many times. It is tit for tat, but believe it or not, you're going to start to see that, hey, you know, I have to say no to them now because I have to go brush my teeth. Or I have to say yes to them now because of this. Changing your moment. So Venus is saying, by changing the moment, you move forward with your soul capital, and it's kind of inspired by the moon in Taurus. Now, those watched over by GA will be texting like crazy through the critical points of Wednesday and Monday, so expect extra with text to make sure our clients are on the right path. Then on Friday, the sun is ruled by Saturn, and it's time to make a decision. For Leos, this is a decision of what do you think your heart wants? Where do you think you might want to aim? Now that we cleared all this crap out, what do you think? So we'll be saying, hey, get that in mind, because really the highest drama of the week is this weekend. On Saturday, we've got a full moon in Gemini, also a lunar eclipse. This is the follow-up of that solar eclipse booster shot you had to your inner child. You might on Saturday find yourself out in public, where you're in front of the type of person you want to be. It's kind of like candy being dangled in front of a lion. All right? Raw meat, if you will. And what this is emotionally wanting to be with the right circle of friends, or wanting to be popular, or wanting to be in your sphere of influence, wanting to do what you want to do, but probably not having the means to do it at that moment. It creates great hunger. And what it does is pull on that sun. Remember, a full moon is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Beautiful in the sky, but really yanking on you to make changes at home. In your case, it is your policy of love. What is your love policy? What is your I love policy? It should be I love me first. And then, where does the love go from there? It's time to make some concessions, to be more open-minded, to give the universe a little bit extra room to work, if you will, and let go of certain things that just aren't obvious or, you know, or not really true. You know, I know some of those go, I want to win the lottery. No, you don't. You want to do what the lottery brings you. So when you are stuck on little assumptions of how it will manifest, or you're hanging on to something because your pride can't let go, this full moon is about let go of that, get to what you really love, quit wasting your own time. Get out of your own way is what a full moon's really about. So we'll be with texting like crazy on Saturday, and also Mars will be freed up. Mars shows breakdown, breakthrough activity in the Virgo consciousness. So as a result of making this commitment, boom, breakthrough, soul capital rises, or opportunity rises, or ability to make money rises. So as soon as you make this important shift about putting what you really love First, it looks like things open up financially and with business for Leos, for those of you who are having a hard time. Now, Sunday, we're just sliding into home plate. You're going to get very much introverted. The moon moves into Cancer. You're going to want to meditate. It's going to be spiritual. Sunday is definitely an offline day and a bad hair day for Leo. So just kind of kick it on Sunday and kind of recharge. We'll text you, of course, if you're in GA. All right, Your Royal Majesty. Now, if you want to know about your love and lust, well, I do that on Fridays. It's called the Weekend Love and Lust Report. I'll talk about how you are romantically this week. If you're watched over by GA, be sure to give me a reply. Tell me how you're doing. And otherwise, I'll see you in 7 days. Until then, live, love, be.